Yo, Concrete.
Okay, so let's get the most important question out of the way.
Okay.
Raiders or Raiders?
It's definitely the 49ers all day.
I've never heard of a team called the 49ers. I'm
Man,
sorry.
right here. Logo made just for them 49ers.
Man, I'm sure that Super Bowl had to hurt you.
Win or lose, rain or shine.
We won't
all
read
day,
that.
every
We won't
day.
read that.
Well, if you couldn't tell, we're both Raider fans, so.
Yeah.
But welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Prolific Roots. We are your hosts. My name is Malosi.
And my name is Monte, and we are here with a very special guest today. She goes by the name of Jouilani Tavita Tapu.
Yep.
And she is a real estate investor. She has been flipping for about 18 months now, been killing the game, also into other kinds of things, real estate related, which we will get into throughout the episode. But before we get into that, let's start with, let her give a shout out to where we are right now. Let the people know where we are right now.
We are in Murray, Utah at Pure Workout. Shout out to them for letting us record here. Appreciate it. Love this gym.
Yeah.
Keep
Nice.
it right, keep it tight.
Yeah, definitely a nice gym. I might work out after the episode, but we'll see.
You're not. Don't
You're
lie.
right, I'm not.
I'm
don't
going
know
to
why
eat
I-
after this.
That's true. But yeah, definitely looking forward to this episode because real estate is something I've always been wanting to get into. Like all throughout college, I was like, as soon as I graduate and I get any, a little bit of money, I'm going to save all my money my first 2 years of work, and I'm going straight into real estate. Like I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and some other books like that too. But for some reason, I haven't done it. Like, and I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people. Like a lot of people are interested in getting into real estate, but for whatever reason, they just haven't found the courage, or they don't have the know-how to do it. But that's why we have you here to help shed some light on how to get to your position. And so we'll get to the nitty-gritty of that. But before we get into that, we usually like to start with getting to know you a little bit more. So if you could, maybe go back to your childhood or something, talk a little bit about what led you to the journey of real estate.
Okay, so I was born in San Francisco, raised in Daly City by my grandparents, my mom's parents. They're from Hawaii, and my dad's parents were also involved in my life too, and they're from Samoa. So San Francisco, both sides of the family came to the Bay Area to have a better life. So it was just me and my grandparents, and they just really loved me a lot. They didn't really put a lot of pressure on me to do anything. It was kind of like, whatever you do, we support you. And in the same way, like if I wanted to quit, they would still support me, like, so there was like no pressure for me to stick and, to finish things out. And that's pretty much how my life was. I did what I wanted, and if I didn't want to do it anymore, I would just stop. So yeah, it's not the best way to kind of grow up, You have to be pushed into doing hard things, and that just wasn't my life. But
So was that was your grandparents that you said? Were they the ones who raised you, or?
yeah, they were the ones that raised me. My dad passed away when I was in elementary. And then my mom, she was a hard worker, but she left when I was 13. Her and my grandma, raising me was like hard. Like they both had different opinions, and so she left. And so I just stayed with my grandparents. So yeah, that was basically how it was.
Were you the only child at the time, or was there
Yes.
siblings? So you're the only child.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So at that time when you were a child, was real estate investing like a thing that you looked forward to getting into, or what were your hopes and dreams as a kid?
So I had two goals. My first goal was to serve a mission, an LDS mission. And then the second one, I just wanted to be successful. Heavily, influenced by music at the time, Bay Area music, and just thinking about like things that aren't even important, like Jordans and like
Grills.
That was definitely on top of the list, cars and just
It's always
things like
gonna
that.
be there, so.
Exactly. It always will, still is. But yeah, I just didn't have really like realistic goals.
Okay.
And yeah.
So is that basically how you define success, being able to get Jordans and cars and grills?
For a long time, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Even in high school, that's all it was about. I mean, you guys are from the Bay.
Yeah.
Can you agree?
Yeah.
That's true. It's always about the money. That's something that a lot of people notice about people from the Bay is with us, it was always money.
Yeah, everything's so do or die there. Like, if you can't just try to skate by there. Like, you have to actively be pursuing some career or, some business or something to actually survive there. That's why a lot of us get, priced out of there and move to other areas.
I think about my mom, like, my mom was a hustler, like, for real. She would take me down to Market Street, and then she'd be like, like those little stores where you go in and they got, like, Tim's and all the clothes. Right. She'd be like, go get all the things that you want, whatever. And then I was like, I want those Tim's too, so our bill was looking high. But then her and, like, the Middle Eastern guy, they'd be, like, negotiating for, like, for a little bit. Like, she's building up relationships, trying to get that discount.
Building that rapport.
Coming out with all my clothes and my shoes, like, for $200 or whatever, so I learned that from my mom real quick. In the Bay, you have to be able to know what you want, negotiate. I negotiate everything. Yeah. Like, if I can get something for free, I'm gonna get it. But I learned that from my mom.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so this leads up to high school. So
high school.
I'm guessing after high school, you're not really knowing what you want to do with your life at that time.
Definitely not. I didn't have any goals. I was like, I didn't have anything that I was passionate about at all. I played basketball, so a couple days after I graduated, I called one of my friends. I was like, what are you going to do? She's like, I'm going to move up to Santa Cruz and play basketball. So I was like, I'm going to come too.
Right.
And so I went out with her, and then we lived in a trailer park, like 2 blocks from the beach. It was like the best situation ever, right? Yeah. But then I messed up and I got kicked off the basketball team. And then I had to go back home just because it's, there's nothing for me over there. So I went back to live with my grandparents, and then I enrolled in City College, and I saw that there were tryouts. So I decided, I was like, man, I'm gonna try out for play basketball, just because I love basketball. And first day of tryouts came, and I went, and I ended up breaking the arm of, like, the point guard of their point guard, their starter. She, like, made all their points as well.
Are you a point guard as well, or?
No, I was just floating, just trying to do the best that I can.
Right.
Wherever you need me, I'll go.
Exactly. I just want to just play.
Just put me in, coach.
Exactly. So I broke her hand, and then after that, everyone quickly hated me. Like, you can feel the vibe. Yeah. I was like, dang. And then at the end of the practice, or at the tryout, they sent us out to the track, and they're like, we're going to time your mile. And that already sounded hard to me, so I was like, dang. So I ran that mile as best as I could. And after, I was like, yep, nope, this is not for me. Got my stuff and left with no intentions of going back. And so, just the same thing that I'd been raised to do. Like, I want to go try out. It's too hard. I want to quit. All good. Nobody was going to tell me any different. My grandparents still love me. They love me no matter what. So that's how it was. Luckily for me, I got a call back from the assistant coach, and she was like, the coach wants you to come back and finish out the tryouts. So I was like, man, that's crazy. But I went back, and I made the team, and then I finished out that year. And so, like, the coach saw something in me that I couldn't see, and that was really, like, the moment in my life where I felt like I accomplished something hard. Right. I felt pride in myself, and it felt really good. And I was like, okay, I can do hard things. And so moving on, that was just, like, my standard. Like, I can do anything that I want to do.
Yeah.
19, 20 years old, know?
Right.
Yeah. I definitely love that. Like, one, it's always important and really a great blessing to have someone like that who sees in you that things that you don't really see in yourself. Like, I kind of wish I had that in high school. Like, I played basketball in high school too, but my biggest problem was lack of confidence. And, like, I would always go out there and I'm scared of messing up, so somebody else take the ball, right? Even though, like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, I was Michael Jordan or anything, but I was definitely better than what my confidence allowed me to play.
I see.
But, like, if I had someone to tell me, like, look, this is what you're doing wrong. Like, you need to go out there and be assertive and be confident with your shot and, take people off the dribble or whatever. But I never had that. And so I ended up quitting, like, after my sophomore year because either I wasn't going to make the varsity team or I was going to make it and just ride the bench. And I didn't want to deal with that. And so I quit. And now looking back, like, as I got older, I don't know, maybe I just got more confident, and I realized, like, damn, like, I wish I played like this in high school. And that now when I look back, that's probably one of the only regrets that I have in my life is when I actually quit. That's what I love about that story is, you actually had that person to teach you that, you got what it takes to make it here.
Definitely. Right? And I wasn't the best player or anything, but I was a part of the team, and I did my thing. So, yeah.
And you probably, I mean, are you still in contact with that coach that told you to come back?
Actually, I literally called her, like, a couple months back.
Really?
Like, just wanted to thank her because, after you reflect and look at your life, you see those things, and I just barely, looking back to see where it all happened, and that was the first time someone gave me a second chance.
Right, and that's big because a lot of times, especially within our own families, we don't receive that, right?
No.
And that gives hope to the young child or the young teenager who is playing a sport or wanting to pursue something that's out of the ordinary, and they feel like they don't have that support, or they haven't received that type of love, or somebody who sees themselves that's bigger than what everyone else does or how they see themselves. And it came from somebody who you didn't really know, right?
Yeah.
And that you didn't even really build a relationship with, but they made such a huge impact in your life.
Without that, I probably would have went on my mission and quit.
Yeah.
Like I would have came
That's
home,
crazy.
for real.
That's an important thing too, that someone had higher expectations for you. Like you talked about your grandparents. Like if you quit, it's fine. We still love you.
Exactly.
But like that's one of the things like in the poly community is like I wish we would hold higher expectations of ourselves. Like we expect to ball out in sports, right? But we should be balling out in academics
Classroom.
too, and with finance and things like that. And so that's definitely powerful. Okay, so you go back and you make the team, you play with that team, and then you end up graduating from City?
No, so I went on my mission after that.
Okay.
Went on my mission, and that's basically where at the end of my mission president, he was like, someone who had seen me throughout the mission. He gives like advice, at the end.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I don't see you in California. I see you doing business in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was never a thought before that I'd ever move to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Bay Area.
Already.
Right. We love
Like-
the Bay more than it loves us, right?
Oh, man. I love the Bay so much, but the Bay don't love me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I went home, and it was like that was the only answer that I was getting, and it wasn't for specific business there. It was just that I needed to be there. Probably like 3 months after I got back, on a random weekend, I called my cousin. I was like, "Let's go. Can you drive me to Utah?" And so that was it. That was 10 years ago.
So did you want to go back and play basketball, or did you know what you wanted to do at this point?
Oh, I definitely knew that I could not play basketball anymore. Done with the basketball. Never that good. But I knew I was going to go to business school just because, that's what my mission president said, and I didn't really know, And so I got into business school. I was at BYU Provo.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like it. And so I decided to come back to Salt Lake. And so I went to Slick, and I did my generals, and then I went into the business and got my AS, or my AS.
A something.
Yes, A something in business. And then I transferred over to the University of Utah.
Okay.
But when I was at Slick, I took a finance class, just like the very basic one.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher played a clip of Dave Ramsey. It was like 6 minutes, like best 6 minutes of my life. And it was only about compounding interest. And I'm like 24, and the video was basically talking about like everyone that's starting at 21 and how they can invest. And, I've already passed up by 3 years. So I'm like, dang, I'm behind. But that was the moment where I knew that finance was something that I was passionate about.
Right.
Like it made me sweat. Like I was like just so excited about it. You know how, what I mean?
Yeah, I actually had a similar experience when I was in college. It wasn't a video though. It was an article from Business Insider, and it was like every 25-year-old should see this. I think I was probably around 25 at the time. I was like, I guess I should see this. And so I looked, and it's like a chart. It's basically about compound interest. A chart with
How it grows.
Yeah, a guy who invests, $5,000 per year for like 5 years, but from like 20 to 25.
Yeah.
And then
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
and then it's a small world. And so like this guy invests, only for 5 years, but he does it early. And then another guy who starts later, but he invests for like 15 or 20 years and puts way more money in. But at the end of like when they're like 60 years old, the guy who only invested for 5 years had more money. And so like.
So that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for our viewers, look it up because it's a big difference. And it's funny, I'm not to hop on the train, but I seen the same thing too. And I was like 26, and I was like, I'm a little bit, we got to link it because I was like, I'm a little bit late. But even if you were to start at 30 or even 35, it makes a world of a difference than if you're to start
50.
at 50 and like,
it's too late.
I need to I need to retire soon, so I got to do this and that. And so, it's powerful. So for sure,
it's never too late.
Yeah, never too late. But the time is now. So
Yes,
stop
don't
procrastinating. Start saving your money. No matter what, you can budget and invest in
Yes.
anything. Even if it's small, it makes a difference. But okay, so yeah, you see the Dave Ramsey video. You're graduating from Slick. You transfer to University of Utah. Then what
Yes.
happens?
So my goal was, when I went to the University of Utah, was to get my bachelor's in finance. And I was actually going to do like the traditional route, like get the 40-hour job, work in corporate, and just, I thought I was going to be making bank.
Right.
Like that was like my thought. I was like, oh, this is a good one.
Like as a financial advisor?
Yes, or like working for like a bank, like a Charles Schwab or something like that,
okay,
right?
yeah.
But then there was this class that I was in, an accounting class, and the teacher just stopped the class and he was like, some of you guys are going to graduate and you're going to make $60,000. And then he was like, some of you are going to make more, some of you are going to make less. And then I was like thinking to myself, yeah, $60,000, I'm not worth $60,000. My time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, and it's not because I was like ungrateful, but it was like, I already have 2 kids. I'm already behind. I'm like 30, I was like 60, I can't do 60. And then he goes, come back and do your master's and you can get a $15,000 bump up. I'm like, no, that's no.
Yeah.
And how much money I got to pay to get a master's, right? To get a 15,000 bump, right?
I was like, man, so that was the moment I stopped thinking about traditional route. I was like, nope, now I got to find something else. And that is when that's when I started looking into real estate. But there was a couple of things that was happening at that time in my life. Got pregnant again, so I'm going to have my 3rd baby. So now I know it's like super unrealistic for me to leave because no one can watch my kids for 40 hours a week.
Right.
And then taxes were changing. My husband is a truck driver, and we basically seen him for 26 hours a week.
So a day, basically.
Exactly. So we see him a day, 4 days a month.
Wow.
And he made good money, but when you look at time,
Yeah.
Right.
no time making money. So it was not ideal for our family. So I was like, I got to find something to help him get off working so much, and keep our same lifestyle kind of thing. The taxes were changing. We weren't going to be able to claim all of the taxes that he was claiming being away for so long. That was equaled $8,000.
Yeah.
To us, that was a lot of money at that time.
Makes a big difference.
Yep. And then my degree, I didn't want him to pay for it. I wanted to pay for it myself just because that was my
pride.
Yeah. I just wanted to be able to pay for myself. And then and the last thing was, we had property in California that we needed to basically learn about asset protection and to see how to separate that from our assets here in Utah, protect that property, protect us, separate it, right? And so
is that your education that made you think about asset protection?
Yeah,
or?
I took a law class, a business law class, and she talked about setting up holding companies and things like that. And so I looked that up, I Googled it, and I was like, dang, this information's so broad. And I was just like, no, I can't follow this. There's no real information out there for me that I could find online, and I didn't trust it. So I was like, I need more. And that's what led me to kind of look more into real estate. And I watch the HGTV shows too.
Right.
I love those
We
fix
all
and
do.
flip shows. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Slip or flop.
I think Flipping Vegas is the one that I've been watching lately.
I love that one too.
It's a lot of dramatic fake scenes. I feel like they're fake. They had one where the dude dropped a granite piece kitchen top, and it was
and they have their oh my.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool just to see how much money they invest into it, and then really the return, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest part. Is oh wow, they made that much money. That's a lot of money, but. And we'll go into that too, because there's a lot in between that.
They definitely make it seem like it's much easier than I'm sure it is, and so we'll come back to that. But,
okay,
for sure.
Yeah, so you're watching these shows, and
so it's exciting, right? So I'm like, oh, I want to do this, right? Because I'm already looking into real estate, so I was like, maybe this could be my thing. Maybe I can fix and flip some houses or whatever. And then I just remember very clearly this one night. I had taken a test and I was just not feeling it. I was unhappy driving on my way home. It's snowing. It's 10:30. I got to go pick up all 3 of my kids. And at the time I lived 45 minutes away. So it's already 10. So I get there 10:30 and then got to drive home. That's like 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so at every stoplight, I'm like crying. Right? Because I'm just mad. I can't cry, but I just want to yell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's embarrassing in itself, as I think about it. But then
Is this due to like being stressed out from like trying to figure out how you're gonna make up that $8,000 that's gonna be lost this year, or is this from school you're stressed out, or
like from
all of
school?
it?
I was like the test was horrible. Like I know I did horrible on the test, and then that transferred over to like you suck, and now you can't even get a job. Like just like all these different things that were just putting pressure on me. Mm-hmm. And then I said a prayer, like one of those, like, please help me. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Exactly. Like just straight up asking, and mm-hmm. then like 2 blocks down, I'm pulling up to this stop sign, and then there's like a cardboard box, like cardboard. And then mm-hmm. someone had written on there like that they're looking for trainees paying $10,000. And like jokingly, I was like, what if this was the answer to my prayers? Right? Like while I'm like, just like in a crazy state of mind. Like,
right, yeah.
And so I pull over and I'm like, because I learned from my mission, you need to follow that.
Yeah, promptings.
Yeah, the promptings. Mm-hmm. And so I pulled over, I called, and I left my name and my number. And then the next day, this guy calls me back. We have a conversation, and it was literally everything that I was looking for. And it was real estate, investing. And of course, I had to do my due diligence. Right. But how is, you know what I mean? Like, I know answers. And as corny as that cardboard box looked, like,
right.
If I didn't call that number, I wouldn't be an investor today.
That's crazy. Because I see those all the time, and I'm like,
bandit signs,
that is a scam.
The bandit signs. They're illegal now.
Yeah, they are illegal. Yeah. People still do it, though,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
They do it on the weekends. And
those signs?
Yeah, bandit
the
signs
cardboard ones, or like the really fancy ones.
I didn't know that.
I don't think people really get in trouble for them. The city just ends up taking them down.
Yeah. So you call them, and did he like invite you to some seminar or something?
Yep. So he invited me, and at that time I had no time. So I actually got like the ghetto version, like on a video. Like he sent me like the clip, like the 2-hour clip.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like watching this, and now I've already been in business school for a minute now. Mm-hmm. I've got a year left, and nothing on that video ever taught me what this 2-hour video taught me for free.
Yeah.
Nothing in the business classes.
Nothing in like business school had ever taught me
you. Wow.
what this 2-hour video did.
Right.
Like in just this video, I could save like $150,000 of interest on a home.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, is
why am I teaching
simple?
This?
Yeah, it makes you mad that you've been in school, 3-4 years at least at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And what they don't want to teach you that because then they won't make money from the banks, right?
Yeah.
They want to keep you working for other people
mm-hmm.
and then borrowing money from the banks to keep them rich and for you to stay in that 30-year mortgage.
Right.
That you're going to refinance and restart the interest and pay crazy amounts of interest for years and years and years. That's why they don't teach you in school, right?
Right.
So after the video, I started looking into the group, like I doing my due diligence, and the most important thing for me was to see the journey of other people, like these regular people like me. And there's actually a Tongan lady that was in the group, and she'd been there for like 5 years. And I reached out to her and I talked to her, and I told her my situation. And the coolest thing about her, I feel like Polynesians sometimes they don't like sharing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you because you're gonna go take it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but the thing that's cool about her, she told me everything. She's like, "It's the best thing I've ever done. You should do it. You're in school. Who cares? Like, you're gonna make way more money doing this than how much money you're gonna make in school." And so, I thought that was really cool that she did that for me. Mm-hmm. And I did a couple things, and I was like, okay. My husband's the type of person that just says no to everything.
Yeah.
And, to a certain point,
Was he against it then? Like you joining that or what?
So no, so this was like, okay, I'm going to tell him, it was a lot of money for us. We're very, frugal when it comes to purchases. So it was a lot of money. And I told him, so I watched this thing. I want to join this group. I want to buy this real estate education. And I was like, and I don't care if you say no. And for the first time, he was like, okay, you can do it. Right? And
he's
so,
like, wow, go ahead then.
Yeah, because we've talked about real estate before, but we just never knew how we were going to get there.
Right.
And so prior to buying this education, I pretty much had like no knowledge, no experience, nothing. And his thing was like, you need to finish, graduate, get your degree, and then you can get into this. But I literally couldn't sleep anymore because I was like, I wanted this so bad. And so like went into the next semester, I couldn't even focus like on my school. And so I was like, I need to buy this education, then I'll finish the school. So I was like, I need to buy it. So I bought the education. I didn't look at it, and then went to summertime at last semester. I hopped out of finance program so I can graduate early in the business administration. And then June 18th was like my day one, and I still had a couple weeks left. So I started learning how to do real estate, blah, blah, blah. And then got my first deal a couple months after that.
To go back, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. To go back a little bit, were there any credentials that you needed to have in order to get into the program, or was it just like anybody can pay, anybody can get in?
Pay.
Okay.
I even think high school, like I just heard like a couple high school kids, like they went and bought some education because they wanted to start like in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
What about as far as like credit? How does that go into it? Do you need to have good credit in order to?
No. I mean, credit's just a bonus, but you don't need to have good
Probably makes it a
credit.
little bit easier, but
Oh, yeah.
not necessarily. So when you were looking up this group, is this like on Facebook or something, or how are you?
Yeah, definitely. If anybody wants to come look at the group, hit me up.
Okay.
Yeah, hit me up.
Yeah,
we'll throw your handle out there.
Yeah,
and
we'll throw your
everything
handle
for
for-
people,
Yeah,
way to people to contact you. So
definitely.
So June is your start date.
Yeah.
What are you starting exactly?
So I'm just learning. So with education, it just comes out with like videos you can watch like anywhere. On your phone, you can download them so you can listen to it while you drive, whatever. So it's basically all the basics about real estate and how to find deals and everything like that. Like everything that I've needed, that I would need to know. And so I started learning from that, and then I knew what I was looking for. And so looking while I'm learning, and then I found my first house.
Wait, so are they like quizzing you or something at all?
They do have, it's just to make sure that you understood what you learned, because we're at the point where if you don't understand what you're learning, how are you going to go out there and make money? You know what I mean? You need to learn. It's not like school where you don't care, but this is.
It's not like school where the thing you're learning is not really helpful, and you actually go out in the real world and use it. This knowledge, you're going to use it, and if you don't know it well, you can lose a lot of money.
Definitely.
So now it's August. You get your first deal.
Yep.
How did you end up finding that property or deal?
It was through my husband. His friend was trying to get rid of a property, and at this time, like we didn't really know, like it was really scary, like because we're buying a house,
Right.
So this is where the mentor part came in, because my husband would be like, okay, he's saying this, and I'm like, okay, and then I call the guy, hey, so he's saying this,
Right.
like now what do I say, with my own intuition too, but it was like help from him as well. And so then I would tell my husband, then he would talk to his friend, like kind of that kind of thing. And then when he was like, okay, come look at the house, and so I brought my contractor over there. And like, even with that stuff, like, I didn't know what to do, so I had to ask the mentor different, I'm like, so now what do I do? And so he just told me everything. Like, it wasn't one of those things where he would like go watch the videos. He like literally took my hand and like helped me with everything.
Yeah, that's
So this mentor, is that someone that's like assigned to you, or is that someone you
It's
just
the guy that brought me in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The guy who put the sign there?
Yeah,
Okay.
the cardboard box. Exactly.
Nice. And what about the contractor?
He was also,
Was that his contact?
it was his contact.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
He had done his flip.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's definitely helpful to have, like, a group like that, to where, because that could be a big roadblock, trying to find solid contractors.
people.
yeah, trustworthy contractor too.
And,
Yes.
like, yeah.
And, and sometimes they don't work out, like, because I wanted to use that same guy for the next one. But, you learn from every house that you flip, what's good, what's bad, what you're looking for. And it's cool. Like, the more that you learn, like, the more successful you are at it, and then the more that you try and the more you go flip houses and stuff, the better it gets.
Yeah.
Kind of
Everything
thing.
becomes easier. And
Yeah. So everything was like lined up for me. Like I needed an attorney, I needed an accountant, I needed a title company, and like all these people are like have to have experience with investors, like even like realtor.
Right.
Like I can't even mess with a realtor that doesn't understand like the investing side of it.
Right.
Just because our numbers are totally different. And so like I need these people to understand my language, you know.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind too when I was looking into real estate. Like, I'm on Bigger Pockets. It's like a real estate investing platform. And in the forums there, they're always talking about, like, you really have to ask for realtors that have experience with either real estate investors or they invest themselves.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you're going to get wrong information and end up, losing money.
Yeah. And maybe not even like wrong information, but to them, a good deal is a good deal to them. But as an investor, we need more equity. We need more room to work with to make a profit. Mm-hmm. But they think like a good discount is like maybe $30,000, $40,000, but with a hard money loan, that's like half of that right there.
Yeah. Let's go into that. So before we get too into the details of like flipping houses, you're good. Explain what, like, briefly to someone who has no idea what a flip is. How would you explain that to someone just very briefly?
So the best way for me to explain like a flip, it would be with numbers. The most of the houses that I buy, they're in like really bad condition just because I want that big discount, right?
Right.
And there's different things that you're looking for. You're looking for, the equity in the property. And then another thing is you're looking for, if I fix all of this up, how much is it going to be worth when I put it on the market?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And to be able to do that, the education teaches me, like, okay, this is how you run your numbers. This is how you do this and that. And so, say, for example, a house is worth $200,000. I buy a house for $100,000,
mm-hmm.
and then I see that on the market, it's worth $300,000.
Right.
So that's $200,000 worth of equity.
Mm-hmm.
But within the $200,000, I have to fit in that rehab, which is the money that's going to take to fix this house up,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
like to the highest standard, so that I can get my highest top dollar on the market.
So that $300,000 is only if it's in like pristine condition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you look, what do the other houses in this area look like? And then you kind of want to match that.
Okay.
That's free game right there.
So that's ARV, right?
Exactly.
So just seeing what the other houses
after repair value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at the rehab. So say if the rehab's like $50,000, right? Then we're looking at how are you going to buy the house? Are you going to buy it with your own cash? Are you going to buy it with a hard money loan? Normally with the hard money loan, they only loan up to 85%. So now you're looking for other people to finish up that
15%.
the 15%, and then you need, to buy that house. So that's how hard money loans work.
So like for that $100,000 example, for a hard money loan, the most you get is $85,000, and so you got to go and find the other $15,000 yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
So I buy the house for $100,000. I see on the market that it's worth $300,000, and the way that I look at, I have to look at the houses in that area, and then I see all those houses that are, they're like, okay, it's worth $300,000 and it's similar to mine. So then I take out that ARV, which is the after repair value of the house. So that means basically after I repair, like
to the T, right?
Yeah, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get that top dollar when I put it on the market, and like fast too. So then with that $200,000 that I have left in that equity, I have to fit in things like the rehab, the hard money loan, all the money that I'm gonna need to pay for, like interest, right?
Right.
Sometimes that's like $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have like the holding cost, which is like, the normal bills, like
the mortgage or
if you're doing hard money loan, you don't deal with the mortgage, you just deal with like the bills.
Okay.
It's like the
like energy.
Yep. Utilities, insurance.
What about taxes, like property taxes?
Property taxes, things like that. I can't think of anything else. And then also you have to add in there 7%. Well, that's what I do. So 6% if I'm using a realtor, 3% for the person that sells my house, 3% for because I'm paying for the other realtor, and then the 1% for the closing costs.
Okay.
So 7% of the $300,000.
Yeah.
So you have to add that into the $200,000, and then anything else.
Yeah, so that's pretty standard to like anyone who's selling a house, and it's usually always, for some reason, it's always the seller that pays for both agents.
Right.
Like
Yep. So when I sell my house, then I have to pay that 6%. But I've only, like the least amount of money that I've paid was $200. The most I've ever paid was like $1,000.
Okay.
So like just that's another benefit of the group. We save a lot of money.
Right.
I save like thousands of dollars of.
Oh, because you use realtors from the group?
not from the group, but just they have
Referrals
certain people that they use
Yeah.
that will sell the house for super cheap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and there's no difference either. Like I've sold a house, like I've had multiple offers on different homes, like first day, and I use the same thing over and over again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So to make it sound really good, you have that $200,000 that you have, and then you have to take in those expenses. So just an average, what would you say? 40,000, 50,000. What are the average repair costs?
Like on a house that I would get, I would say like 50 to 60,000.
50 to 60,000.
Yep.
And then all the other, percentages and whatnot would take it up to.
Let's just say it takes it up to 200, like $100,000 altogether.
Okay, so
just
100.
for saying,
Okay.
this is a really good deal that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't exist.
Right.
This is not super realistic.
Yeah, no, like dime a dozen.
Right.
So then now you have $100,000 worth of profit, right?
Yeah. If everything goes right,
Everything goes right.
you stand to make $100,000 when it's all done.
Exactly. But then say if like repairs need, like extra things need to happen, then your profit just get,
Keeps dropping,
less
yeah.
and less.
Right,
But
right.
we're doing all these numbers before we get into the deal. So you can see like, if I get a deal, I have $100,000 worth of equity to work with, I'm taking those all day.
Right.
Like even like with 70,000, like if my profit's looking at like 70,000, I'll take as low as 30,000,
Right.
right?
And it depends on how fast you can do it too, right? Obviously.
Yes,
So,
you want to do them as fast as you can.
right.
So is there like a target or like an average?
I hear the average is 4 months, but one of my friends that I've done a deal with, he done like a month. His repairs are done like within a month. We're talking like 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes.
Is he helping out with that, or is he just hiring the right contractors?
No, so like everyone in our group, it's like believe in like you don't do any of the work because what do you use your time with? You're trading, you're getting time back, and you pay someone. You're leveraging, right? You use your money to pay somebody else to do the job, while you get to do whatever you want,
Right.
or just like go out and make more deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, make more
Sure.
money. You don't do any of the work.
Yeah.
I do the rehab. I mean, I do the demos on my properties just because I like to.
Yeah.
But
That
Yeah,
does
let us
sound like
come out
fun.
on those. Those are fun. That seems like fun.
yeah, but is it the best thing I can do with my time? No.
Yeah. That's an interesting point too, because like that's what I've learned like throughout college. Like everything is a trade-off.
Yeah.
Like if I'm up all night playing the game, that's time I could have been on the computer looking for houses, trying to find a deal to flip,
Exactly.
right? And so the same goes with even with working, right? Even you're trying to work to save money, but that time you spent, you could have found another deal. Like maybe you saved $10,000 by doing that work yourself, but you could have found another deal in that time that
And made
brought you
how much-
40,000.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Let's go into a little bit more into like the credit aspect of it, the credit side of it, because some people are going to see this and be like, man, you know what? I want to do this. But they probably have like a 500 credit score or whatnot. And
Majority of people start with that.
And you can't go and get a $300,000 loan or whatever it is, or hard money loans or whatnot. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are some of the things that you need to have in order to go out and, because obviously most people aren't going to have the money up front, $100,000 to purchase a home, and then the other $100,000 for all the expenses. So what are some of the avenues, or just kind of expound on that, if that makes sense.
So if you think about leverage, right? Someone who doesn't have credit, they could have other talents, or they can have other things that can trade for that,
Assets.
Right. Like they could find deals, right? And then they can find someone that has the money. They can find someone who has the credit if they need the credit. So you see, it's always like you see where you fit in.
Right.
You whatever you have, like if I have money and I can loan money to other people, that's my thing. Like you just find out where you fit in. You can make money in so many different ways.
A lot of different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like reminds me of in Rich Dad Poor Dad. He says like, don't say I can't do this. Say how can I do this?
Right.
And like when you get that how can I do this, then it's like, okay, maybe I can't get the money to do it, but maybe there's a guy out there that has money but doesn't have the time to find the deals. Let me go partner with him and make this thing happen.
Basically, like wholesaling, where it doesn't require
wholesalers.
it doesn't require any money, it doesn't require any credit. You're finding the deals for people who have the means, and you're being the middleman. You're getting paid for that, right?
Exactly.
And we'll probably, hopefully, we can do an episode on wholesaling as well. So,
Awesome. So talk about your first deal for us. So it's this is in August. That house that your husband, his friend was talking about. You go there with your contractors and they say everything looks good.
Yep. And so like the budget was looking at like 42,000 in the beginning.
For repairs?
Yeah, for repairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I looked up how much the house would, how much we could sell it for. And so we could sell the house at like 280,000. And the friend was looking for a certain amount. And then my husband was like, I want it for 165,000. And so I was like, okay, it sounds like too low for me, that's like, I feel like you're lowballing him or whatever. And he's like, no, like really look at it. Like he told him 165,000 and like I took it. So he accepted the 165. And so with the rehab, where are we at?
We're going to put the numbers up too for all of our viewers to see as well. So
Yeah. So as far as equity that's left, I looked up, I looked to see how much, if we fix up this house really nice, how much can we sell it for? So I was finding comps in that area for 280.
nice.
So you subtract out the 165, subtract out the 42. So we're looking at 73,000 right now.
Okay.
Okay, and
72,000 profit.
70,000 equity still being able to work with because we have other things here.
Okay.
So holding costs, we're looking at 10,600. Let's just say I think I put down 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the 12,000, then looking at the closing costs, and this is the 6%
Mm-hmm.
plus the 1%, the 6% for the two realtors, and then the 1% for the title company.
Right.
And then I looked at that, we'll just say 20,000. So 237,600, we're looking at 285.
285 is the
comps, that's the ARV.
280,000. So we're looking at $42,400 of profit. So we flipped the house, and then at the end, I realized that I found another comp that said 285, and I actually put in a double kitchen. So now we're looking at a possible investment property.
Right.
Because it's separated, two different entrances. So now I've got two different kind of people looking. I've got people looking at, okay, now this could be, a cash flowing property.
Right.
Or this could be just like a very nice house for someone.
Right.
So I had 285, and I got 3 offers on the first day for the 285,000.
So when you say two different buyers, one buyer could be like, hey, I'm going to purchase this house. There's 2 kitchens, so I'm going to have 2 tenants in there, right?
Yeah.
So like a basement and the main floor.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's
Two
attractive
separate
to
entrances.
a real estate investor because of that.
Definitely. So it'd be like a non-conforming
Multifamily.
duplex.
Yeah.
I own one right now. It's
Nice.
wonderful.
So you sell for 285 and you actually make the 42? Like,
Yeah, actually, because remember I bumped it up to 5.
Okay.
So I made 47.
47. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
So you
just
probably
that's your
going,
first deal.
going crazy at this point. Like, for me, I'm like 47. How long did it take?
so that was August. We went to do the demo August 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Sold February, I think first or second week of February.
Was it
Nice.
5-6 months?
So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months.
6
Yeah.
months.
And yes, so like with all the waiting periods and everything, so 6 months. So before my school loan was actually due,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to pay it off.
Nice.
So like all of my goals just, because when you set up a business, you get to use all the tax benefits, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate just had, I get to be at home. So like on this project, I spent less than 25 hours on this.
Wow.
So if you look at that, 47.5, and you divide that by what, 25?
25.
25 hours, yeah.
1,900
Yeah. That's crazy.
an hour?
1,900 an hour. That's
So
crazy.
like, so did you see how like all those things that I wanted, like that was pushing me away from getting that 40-hour job? I found all of those, from,
Right.
and of course my husband still works a lot, but he doesn't work that job anymore. So he was able to come home and
Nice.
work less.
That's great.
Nice.
So
That's and that alone, like even if you only made like 10,000, like being able to have, your husband home, the kids have their father home, like that's worth, way more than $40,000. Like, and that's amazing.
So he doesn't drive trucks anymore? Or
He does.
He does? Okay.
But he just does, we see him more.
A lot more often.
Yeah, so we see him like, he's sleeping, but
Right.
Yeah.
we see him a lot more.
Yeah.
He's a hard worker.
Yeah.
That's good.
Shout out to him.
And like
So-
what really made me mad though was like the real estate education that I bought was my education was double.
Yeah.
And now I get to learn how to buy properties without mortgages, with like keeping the properties under all these other people names. I don't even need a mortgage for a house that I own. You know, it's just
is that like a subject to?
That's a seller, subject to seller
Yeah,
finance.
perfect.
Exactly. And I have a couple of those right now. Like,
Nice.
That's if you don't know what that is, definitely looking at that. I've been
seller
learning about that,
finance,
lately.
subject to. But I would have not known that
Yeah,
from school, just from
exactly.
this education.
Yeah. So I do want to touch a little bit on about the emotional, roller coaster that was. I'm sure it wasn't all,
No, I wasn't.
smooth sailing, right? So what was it like emotionally during that 6 months?
It was scary. That's the part that a mentor can't really take that part away from you, the fear or whatever. But what I did was you read books for mindset. You have to you just have to get through it. But it was really hard for me because I was so worried because I had other people's money, I had my money, my what if things go wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was hard. It even pushed me to get some therapy, NLP training. I call it the rich people's therapy, but yeah.
Why do you call it that?
Because it's like $1,000 an hour.
Oh yeah.
Sheesh.
That's rich people training. Wait, I think I'm qualified to do
Yeah, I
that.
think
Next time, come to me. I can.
You totally can do it.
I even give you half off.
No, so it pushed me to get that because I couldn't handle with the stress, and then after that, it just took. Now I can handle my emotions. It's really cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely important in this business to be able to keep your emotions in check because you can really lose a lot of money if you buy. You can get attached to a property.
Oh yeah.
You go to a property
Real
and it's
quick.
like, this is so beautiful. I want to own this, and then the owner's not coming down on the price, and it's just
Yep. Don't look at the house. Look at those
Yeah.
numbers.
Then you end up buying
Numbers
it,
all
and then
day.
you're like, oh, now I'm in the hole, right? So,
Exactly.
what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned during this journey of real estate?
So biggest lessons that I've learned. Real estate is just a means to an end. This is not what I want to do forever. I have a goal to be retired for 41. Not that I'll stop doing real estate, but I want to already have accumulated all of my cash flow by then.
Right.
Because I want to do other things. I want to be with my kids, as much as I want.
Of course.
And it won't be like a necessary thing that I do.
Right.
Another thing is you got to follow the other people, right? There's not one of the things where you just make up as you go. You follow the successful ones to the T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big follower when it comes to this real estate stuff. But before, following isn't cool.
Yeah.
You gotta,
That's big. Not to cut you off, that's huge because there's a lot of things or even people that we've interviewed, they're artists. Not everyone is blessed with that talent, right? This is a copycat situation where anyone can see, someone who's successful, they can reach out to you. There's many platforms, many avenues to get into real estate, and they can just copy what the successful people have done. So that's huge.
Yeah, and that's what it's kind of counterintuitive to what we're taught our whole life too. And all through grade school, copying off of people, you get in trouble for that.
Yep.
Right.
And so it's kind of a mindset shift that if you
Now
want to
you
do,
can get paid.
if you want to get money like other people get money, copy what they do.
Right.
Yes, that's what this is all about. And I'm all about following. I don't have to think a lot, I just do what they're doing.
Right.
And when they change, I change, So you have to keep up on that. But leverage, dude, our time is so precious. We only got one life, So real estate is the best way to really make money in a short period of time, That's just my favorite thing about leverage. Money cares about money.
Yeah.
Accumulate your money, then pay other people to do the things that you don't want to do all day. Like my shoes, my grills, and all that thing. I'm going to buy a house, an investment property, that's going to cash flow me money so I can go and buy my stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I ain't even got to, someone else can pay for my stuff now.
Right.
But there's a time and place for that.
That reminds me of DJ Envy. I don't know if you follow him or Flippin' NJ. They both they're in a partnership and they do real estate. And his big thing was how I look at it is if I want something, then I go out and I buy a property that will bring in the cash flow to pay for whatever it is I want. I want a new Lambo, I'm gonna go purchase, a property, and then it's gonna, I'm gonna sit on it, have people rent it out, whatever that money that's bringing it in, that's gonna go towards my car payment for my Lambo's paid for.
And even if it takes 10 years, who
Right,
cares? It's
yeah.
not coming out of your pocket.
Exactly.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You want something else, go get another property, flip a house, get that money, buy another property.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So y'all go ahead and rewind that back. That's how, rich people, buy
Get those
things.
nice cars.
Right.
Get those boats. Well, the smart ones.
And everyone's like, oh, he's leasing it, but he ain't paying for it.
Right. Don't matter. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all cash flow. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So in wrapping up, once again, thank you for coming on. I hope our viewers enjoy, this episode as much as we have. We definitely learned a lot about, flipping. Maybe next I'll sit in that chair and I could talk about, how I got into flipping.
We got to get all on the deal soon. So,
right. And so, where can people learn more about you or connect with you?
You can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah.
okay. What's your? Do you have a handle on Instagram?
Yeah, it's really dumb. It's freckled SFN San Franciscan. Yeah, probably not very business.
We'll tag it in the video here so that everybody can find you. No, you good?
Got some business cards, but can't give them out.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
And everyone who's new to the podcast or to our channel, please like, share, subscribe. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and now we're on Apple as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Our handle, finally, it took a while, but we're on there now. Our handles are @prolific_roots. That's @prolific_roots, and we'll of course tag that in the video here. If any of you have any feedback or suggestions on who we should bring on next, any other topics that you guys are interested in, please let us know in the comments. We definitely would love to engage with you all. And like we always say, find ways to go out and be
prolific.